I think we stopped our last video because I was not able to record it further on this particular slide. Now, this particular article that I was talking about was by Brian Holden in 2016, where they had estimated that there will be more than 1.9 billion people who would be that would be almost 27% of total population were myopic in 2010, and this would increase to almost 52% of the total myopes across the globe. Now, this is how the whole trend was. So, starting from 22% to 28%, 33% in 2020, where we are between 33% to 40%, and this was gradually to increase to 52% as per Holden et al. In 2016. So, this is pretty large a number, both in terms of myopia epidemic and also in terms of the fact that all the ophthalmologists like us, we should start showing interest, more and more interest in the field of myopia and what can be done to prevent the progression, and also we should look into factors which are responsible for progression. Now this was the original article, where you can see that there is hardly there's hardly any data from the Indian subcontinent, and bulk of the data is from East Asia. And I think that is one of the reasons why the whole data is skewed when you see in terms of data from Asia and compare it to Southern Africa and Western Europe. So, so now we will look into how much is the Indian burden for myopia, and there have been multiple studies starting from 2010 to 2015, 2020, 2023. This is one of the studies which was published from LVP group, and what they did was they did a similar study as was done by Brian Holden Vision Institute, and they found that the prevalence of myopia in 5 to 15-year-old in urban children had increased from almost 4.5% in 1999 to 21.15% in 2019. And so they used the same temporal projection. They predicted that prevalence of myopia will increase to almost 32%, 40%, and 48% in 2050. For the reference, I have tried to, so what my point is that I try to get these articles and post it into the WhatsApp group so that you can have the actual article and not just the gist of it, which I can be speaking on in this video. So this particular article is there in the WhatsApp group, and I have today I had added another article which was on the pathophysio and etiology of myopia. I would also be tonight I would be adding some more articles on incidences and prevalences of myopia in North India. That this is multiple studies which they have done, and we can see that they have taken care of all these studies, starting from Lalit Dandona's the study from Andhra Pradesh to GVS Murthy Sir's study in New Delhi, Das et al. Saxena et al. 2015 study I was talking about, Singh et al. And this was the prevalence of myopia among children. And then there is prevalence of myopia among adults. So you can see that there has been an increase in overall prevalence of myopia. You can see that the trends are gradually there is an increase in prevalence, whereas in 2010 it suddenly went up in the fourth article. You can see that the prevalence here they have shown is almost 22%. This is the study from Hyderabad. So this is the study which they are talking about, and 5 and 6 and 7 they come back. In fact, they are at the lower point of the trend. I think this particular line is slightly up because of this particular fourth study, and otherwise more bulk of the work is underneath this. So this is the temporal projection which shows that the prevalence of myopia by 2050 would be at around 48 to 49%, which is almost close to what will happen in the world. Although in the Chinese population, you will see that the growth is much faster, and their projections are almost at 75 to 80% of the population being myopic. So this is the data which is from India, and I think apart from this study, most of the studies do claim, and I think this is another study from Hyderabad. So probably most of the data from Hyderabad is towards more than 20 to 30%. But otherwise, I think this particular study from GVS Murthy and this particular study from Rohit Saxena in Delhi is showing a overall prevalence of myopia to be pegged at around 13 to 17%. So these are some of the studies which I have tried to take out. I can send you these studies on the WhatsApp group to read about them. This is this study, 2017 study, and there is another study, 2015 study, and there is another study by the same group, North India Myopia Study in 2021. Then there are some other studies where this was from, I think, Shankar Netrala, and they have screened and seen a lot of children, and the prevalence of myopia is pegged at around 21% in this one. And then they have done an annual incidence of 3.4, which is incidence, obviously, because it is annual incidence, and the progression was observed in 50%. This was one of the study which was showing, which also had data of the same children. See, the most important point which is to be taken from all this is from the clinical perspective. See, there are two aspects to this whole talk. One aspect is what is the incidence and what is the prevalence, and overall prevalence of myopia is increasing. Number two is what is the number of children out of this overall prevalence of almost 20 to 30%, how many will actually progress over a period of year or over a period of 2 years. So this is how you can see that the children among private schools were at a higher at a higher risk considering government schools, and they found that myopia mean dioptric change was almost 0.27 diopter in a year, and here they shown that mean dioptric change was 1.09 plus minus 0.55 diopters. So this is and this was a large study of from Chennai, and they tried to show that almost 17.5 percent had myopia. So that was the prevalence in children of the South India. And this was some work which I did as part of my PhD thesis, and which is ongoing. So when I started my PhD thesis in March 2022, we tried to start actual myopia study in 2022, and we tried to find out what was the prevalence, and we screened, I think, around 9,600 children, and we found that the prevalence was almost 18.65%. That was the prevalence of myopia in Baroda urban population. Less than 1 diopter was seen in 9.2%. Between 1.25 diopter to 6 diopter or 5.75 diopter was seen in 8%, and more than minus 6 diopter was seen in almost 1.9% of children. So high myop were around 2% of the total population, and almost like 2 upon 18, 1/6 of the patients were out of the myopia population were high myopes. Now we did this was just to tell you what we did. We screened around 9,548 children, and we referred around 31% of the children to the hospital to be sure that they underwent cycloplegic refraction. And the study period of next 6 months, we started following these patients up, and we found that on first follow-up we tried to find out how many were progressing. So out of the 1781 children, 92 children either left the school, had an isometropia, or were excluded from the study due to various reasons, like they were not available or we could not follow them up. Out of the remaining 1689 children who were still in these schools, so what we did was we had selected around 5 to 6 schools. So out of the remaining 1689 children, around 952 children showed progression. So I think around 57% of these children showed some amount of progression by at least 0.25 diopters. And we also did axial length in all these patients who were myopic, who came to our clinic. And around 737 children did not show any progression in the first 6 months after we had prescribed glasses. So no intervention was used. This was a raw, straightforward data. And when we did this study again, I mean, when we went to the school, we found that 86 children were diagnosed as new myopes. So this was probably the incidence of 86 children who were diagnosed as new myopes, with a myopia of 0.5 diopters. So these were diagnosed as pre-myopes because these were the patients who were going to be either myopes or they were at the cusp. So they were supposed to be pre-myopes in the last sitting. We did not recognize them, and now they were new myopes which were now found out in the subsequent 6 months. And the progression was in 952 children. In these children, we asked them to use low concentration atropine. This was in 2023, and this was once at night was given to almost 562 children. Some children were able to afford the glasses, and so they started glasses. And the rest of the children, that is around 294 children, they did not agree to have any of the treatments, and they said that we don't believe in all this. And so they were the patients who were sort of behaved as controls, because even after telling them repeatedly that this treatment should be done because myopia would progress, they said that we really don't want to put the drops every time, every day to the children. Out in these 294 children, there were some of the children who initially put the drops for some time, but then they did not follow up, or they did not put the drops. So they were explained about environmental and lifestyle modifications also, apart from the 952 children who were also diagnosed as myopia, or even when in the first time all the children were explained about environmental and lifestyle modification, because we think that the crux of whole myopia treatment is in the fact that we should be talking more and more about environmental and lifestyle modification, and not just about atropine glasses or vitamin D3 or any other modality of treatment. I think one of the most important points here is that we should be reinforcing the point that environmental and lifestyle modifications are the key to prevent the progression of myopia, and also to prevent myopia in children who are pre-myopes or who are at the risk of developing myopia. Now, all these children were the new myopes, which were like the incidence of 86 children who were diagnosed as new myopes after 6 months. They were definitely told about myopia control, lifestyle modification, and the fact that they have developed myopia, and they would indeed may need some sort of treatment if their progression continued, or if they developed some progression. And out of these, there were some patients who were also given atropine, and they were ready. So I think around 13 patients were given atropine. So after 6 months, so the first 6 months, this is second 6 months. So after 6 months, out of 562 children who were given low concentration eye drops, around 403 children did not show any progression. So that was a good number. That was around 71.7% of the children who did not show any progression. Also, the fact is that these patients were also told about lifestyle modification. So whether it was atropine or whether it was lifestyle modification, but the lifestyle modification was told to all the patients, and low concentration atropine was given in 562 children. So 403 did not progress. Out of the 96 children who were given as primary therapy of myopia control glasses, only 4 children progressed, and rest of them did not progress. So glasses were definitely doing well at this point of time, but the number was very small. And out of the 294 children who did not agree to any of the treatment, around 268 children did show further progression, and out of these, 214 were started on low concentration eye drops, low concentration atropine eye drops, and 4 children were given myopia control glasses because the progression was too steep, and 46 children were found to be new myopes. So 83 plus 46. So the total number of pre-myope, including the previous ones, now was 132. And so what we found from second follow-up was that myopia progression was indeed around 56.36% in children between 5 to 15 years of age. Myopia control strategies work, but obviously compliance is a major issue, and glasses are expensive, so less commonly preferred. So this was the take-home message from the second follow-up of our study that we did. We again followed them up at the third follow-up, and now now at 1.5 years, we had a total number of around 9,938 children screened. 1781 were found to be myopes, so that was in 2023. Now again, this is after 1.5 years, we had around 1882 children who were myopes, that is around 18.93%. The total number of new myopes who were not previously myopic were 132 in 2023-24, and 50 were found to be new myopes. new in screening and school. So out of which 23 were previously not myopic in 2023. So that was regarding the incidence. So there is definitely an ongoing incidence and increase in prevalence, even though very minimal, but there is a increase in prevalence and adding up of myopia burden. So this is the comparison between 2023 and 2024. So numbers are almost symmetrical because it has been, there's only a difference of 1 year, but definitely the myopes which were at, I think, 1 diopter, they have progressed to 1.25 diopter. So the incidence of this is slightly higher, but some of them have progressed from this to this also. So the incidence, overall incidence of more than 6 diopters is around 2.1%. So this is in a nutshell at third follow-up. These are the total number of patients on atropine plus 13 pre-myopes in 2023. In 2024, 733 plus 28, and then in 2000, September 2004, 406 plus 4 plus 11. These four, I think, were the patients who did not do well with glasses, and so they were now on combination therapy along with the glasses that they already were wearing. So that was regarding the overall gradual progression and a follow-up of around 1.5 years that I presented. Uh, I would talk more about understanding myopia progression in the next video.